In einem idyllischen Gewerbegebiet in Ludwigsburg wird die Stille nur unterbrochen von vorbeifliegenden Flugzeugen und von vorbeifahrenden Zügen. Viele Leute scheinen nicht zu wissen, dass hier gleich Charlie Adlard im Verlagsgebäude von CrossKite vorbeischaut. Das ist kein geringerer als der Zeichner der weltweit erfolgreichen Zombie-Comic-Reihe The Walking Dead. Wir haben das große Vergnügen, gleich mit ihm zu sprechen und freuen uns sehr darauf. Neben mir sitzt tatsächlich Charlie Adlard, der Zeichner der weltberühmten Walking Dead Comics. Charlie, it's so nice to be here and have the chance to speak with you. You're in Europe for some conventions and some interviews. How is it so far?
I'm having a great time, thank you. Yeah, this is the final day, so yeah, it's getting a bit weary, but I'll keep going like a trooper.
That's what you do, because with conventions you don't get too much sleep, or do you take your time?
It's not been too bad so far. Yeah, I've been getting enough sleep. But it's funny, the adrenaline does keep you going through it all.
So you obviously are having a good time coming from Italy right now, and meeting your fans, giving interviews, and of course signing and drawing stuff. That's your profession. You're an artist, and you're a comic book artist for quite a while now. Like many British artists, you did a lot of stuff for the British science fiction comic book magazine 2000 AD. That spawned the Judge Dredd franchise that is known to many people. And now for many years, for over 150 issues,
yep,
you're drawing The Walking Dead. Although the comic book is popular and selling really well in all countries, I think, did it change your life as it would someone who's involved into the even more popular TV series?
No, it hasn't really changed my life. I still work in exactly the same way that I did 12 years ago when I first started the book. I still approach every page the same way as I approached it all those years ago. Obviously the money's slightly better, but I still live in the same house, same lifestyle I suppose that I've had for many years. The only time I'm kind of aware of the phenomena of what Robert and I started was when I come to places like this, or especially going to bigger cons, where the queues are out the door and around the corner, and you only have time to sign, you don't have time to sketch or anything like that. That's when you get a sense of the popularity of the thing. But other than that, everything is kind of normal.
So you still got your space to enjoy it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and especially because I live in a fairly small town in the UK, but it's very rural, and I've lived there for I was born there, moved away for a bit, but I've since moved back. We're talking for nearly 26 years ago. It's the sort of place that doesn't change, so you naturally don't change with it.
I think that's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yes, I haven't become some sort of power crazy megalomaniac or anything like that. I don't walk through my local town going, "Don't you know who I am?" if something goes wrong or anything like that. Demanding to be put at the top, front of the queue and stuff like that. No one recognises me in Shrewsbury where I live.
But speaking of power-crazed megalomaniacs, the series The Walking Dead spawned a lot of these, and very charismatic, very huge villains for the series. I just don't want you to pick a favorite, but what I'd like to ask you is, in how far are you involved in character design with The Walking Dead? Is it that Robert has very specific ideas about the look of figures, or what is it that you add?
I mean, it really varies. Sometimes Robert will give me a fairly detailed description. Sometimes the description will be, he she's female and got blonde hair or something like that. So the rest is left up to me. I mean, some of the more iconic characters, specifically I'm thinking at the minute, Michonne and Negan, were a real sort of collaboration, a 50-50 collaboration. I remember Michonne, I think Robert's description was a black woman with, a samurai sword. So obviously I elaborated on that quite considerably. And the same with Negan. Negan was quite an interesting gestation because for the monthly comic book we did a series of 6 covers which were sort of all tied into the introduction of the Saviours, Negan's gang. And they were all these shots of the Saviours, but they were torso shots, and each head was just in shadow, so you just got the torso and a specific weapon. And I did a series of 6, and Robert had said something like, do one with a chainsaw, do one with an axe, do one with a baseball bat with barbed wire around it. Almost just a throwaway comment like that. And little did I know he hadn't even thought of what Negan should look like. And I don't know if he was sort of waiting to see what I drew for him to pick one, but that's actually what he did. He sort of looked at those drawings, saw this drawing of this guy with a baseball bat, with the leather jacket zipped up and everything, Negan's kind of look, and said, I think we'll have that one as Negan. So that was probably one of the most interesting kind of character creations, because I don't know whether Robert specifically thought, I'll give this to Charlie to design, and then or design them all, then I will pick one, or whether he had something in his mind originally, but when he saw my drawings, sort of went, oh no, that's it, that's the one. I've never really sort of asked him about that, but that's how he evolved. So it's always been a very sort of fluid thing, character design between us.
And when you think of it that you had your hand in not only the visualization but the creation of these iconic characters, and you did many comic books before, but I think most of these had characters that were pre-designed.
Yeah.
When I think about Judge Hershey, or I think you did Shadow Man for this
X-Files, they're all
everything like that.
Yeah.
And how is it? Do you watch the TV show, and how is it seeing your creations coming alive and being shown on screen by living persons?
Well, it's you have to sort of pinch yourself sometimes. I mean, I think the problem with the lasting success of The Walking Dead is you do get a bit complacent to it. And it sounds awful to say that, but you do. You just sort of get quite used to the TV show's in season 7 now, so you can't get equally as excited as seeing the first episode of season 1. It's as simple as that, because the novelty factor has fallen off. So perhaps it's not as thrilling as it was way back. But bearing in mind, of course, I've been on set twice. Once for the pilot and once for near the beginning of season 3. And or was it season 4? No, it was season 3.
Yeah.
Of course, the pilot, as great, as amazing as it was to be on set, it wasn't my comic book then, because obviously it was Tony Moore's the artist that drew it for the first 6 issues.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, and Robert said, just if people come up to you and say, great work, I love your work, just nod and go, yeah, thanks. Because it's almost too complicated to try and explain to these guys that are making the show, who don't read comic books, that, well, actually, I've drawn everything apart from the first 6 issues, and this is what you're filming, so it's not really my sort of thing. So, as great as it was being, it was sort of quite surreal, because it wasn't my creations, per se, at the time. Second time was more special, because Robert specifically asked me to go out there, and I did make a special effort to go out there that time, because it was literally, I think, 2 weeks after I'd just been to San Diego, so I flew all the way back to the UK, flew all the way back to Atlanta a couple of weeks afterwards, because he kept saying, you've got to come out, because you've got to see the prison, you've got to see Woodbury. I think he just wanted me to see my stuff live, and that was quite incredible, because they did things which I just didn't think they would bother to do, like just simple things like the prison towers were how I drew them, which felt a bit meta almost, because when I was designing the prison for the show, for the comic book, obviously I was looking at doing research online and everything and getting prison reference, real prisons. So I designed those towers from the reference that I'd got online, and then the TV show were taking my designs and building them. It's like a very weird way around arriving at the towers that they designed, when they could have just gone online like I did and designed towers, because mine were based on reality, obviously, because it's a show that is grounded in reality. And the same, I was amazed that they'd gone to the effort of building the tables and chairs in the canteen exactly like the tables and chairs that I'd put in the book. Again, from reference from online stuff. So it was stuff like that felt really special, because they could have just got any old tables and chairs, and they didn't need to build them like from scratch, which is what they did. Just to sort of because it was great, because there are so many fans of the comic book who work on the show that they do make a concerted effort to make the show look like things I've drawn, visually very similar. So, and of course, the other great thing about being on season 3 was standing with Denai Guerrero and just sort of looking at her as Michonne and going, I designed you. And that was amazing. That was real.
Do you think that was creepy?
Yeah, I didn't. That's what I thought in my mouse. Yeah. So yeah, that was amazing. She was great, and just to stand with her and I just kept staring at her, just thinking, God, that's Michonne.
Absolutely.
So that was a special moment. That was a real sort of shiver down the spine moment.
I get that, but I think, and we all think that you'll be the artist of The Walking Dead for a while now. I think everything there is safe.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone too far to not finish it now, put it that way. Wild Horses would have to drag me away from finishing it, and Robert and I both promised each other that when one day when it does finish, and don't worry, it's not going to finish anytime soon, but when it does finish, because it will finish as well, we will both be involved. I just think it'd be ridiculous for me to jump ship now and it just sort of finish a year later or something like that. It just seems wrong. So no, I'm here.
That's a great thing to hear. But I'd like to ask what-if questions, and I could imagine that it is quite time-consuming to have a monthly book for so many years, and that you don't have time for too many projects aside from that. But let's just suggest the book goes on a hiatus for a few months, and you are given the regular money that you get, and someone says you now do the comic book of your dreams. And what would that be? What would that project be for that time where you don't have to arrange with anything else?
I've thought about this actually long and hard, because one thing I will do when The Walking Dead does finish is certainly scale back. I wouldn't want to do another massive great series again, probably my whole life. But hypothetically, it would be something. Well, I don't know what it would be actually, but one thing it would be my own thing. I'm not interested anymore about doing anybody else's characters, no matter how much I might love them. I've experienced what it is like to be successful at creator-owned books, and why would I want to? It would feel like a retrograde step to go back to doing other people's characters. Why would I want to? It would just seem ridiculous to do that. So, it would. I don't know what it would be, but it would be something that I created, or I created with a writer.
Really looking forward to that, and I think many of your fans are.
Thank you. I mean, I am. You say I don't have much time for other things. I'm actually doing a French comic book in between issues of The Walking Dead. I'm actually doing a thing called Vampire State Building for Soleil Publishing in France, and it's a 2-book series, and I don't know where I'm finding the time for, but I am. Yeah, there is. But doing other stuff keeps The Walking Dead fresh as well, because I think if I was purely doing The Walking Dead 24/7, every day, every year sort of thing, it would get stale, and I would start feeling frustrated with it. But because I'm lucky to be fast as well, I can finish an issue in less than a month, therefore I have time to do other things, and I will be the first to sort of say, I so agree with the adage, change is as good as a rest, and working on something else is really refreshing, and you can come back to the Walking Dead a kind of a new man and ready to do another sort of 3 or 4 issues.
One question I thought about when I was doing my research, and when I was wondering what I could ask you that is interesting for you and for my viewers, was what I love most about The Walking Dead is not what I read so much about on the internet or in TV magazines. There's monsters and violence and action and suspense. There is more the idea of what do people do, and how you see their character when there are no rules, when there are no laws, and when they are there to build these laws and to create their system. What would you think would you be for a character in the world of Walking Dead when everything is going down the drain and there's the zombie apocalypse? Are you locking away with your family and throwing away the key? Are you the one that tries to establish a system or some kind of police? Or who are you when the world goes down the drain?
God,
you don't have to be too serious about it.
It is one of those. Probably want to commit suicide. I don't know. I don't want to live in a world like that. Death is the easy option. But God, I think it's one of those weird things where, as it's proven, sort of on in the comic as well and on the show, and for so many sort of. Post-apocalyptic scenarios, that's a good word, is the fact that you don't really know who you're going to become. Did Rick know he was going to become arguably a leader of men? You didn't know that. You don't know in that sort of extreme situation what sort of person you actually are until it's probably a great level of humanity, isn't it? You work out your true self, because perhaps none of us are our true selves, really. We're also kind of nice and complacent in our modern society, assuming everything is just going to be fine and the status quo will carry on, and we'll live and die and pretty much nothing's changed. Which is what we all kind of hope, obviously. We don't want some apocalyptical thing to happen in our lifetime. But probably because of that, we never really give it much thought what sort of person we'd be. But there again, even if you did give it thought, you'd probably be a completely different person to what you would assume you might be in the apocalypse. I joke about, I'll probably commit suicide, I'd be a complete coward. I wouldn't be surprised if 80% of the people would sort of say that, because no one's really presented with such a ridiculous set of rules or scenario or whatever. So, your sort of the instant option would be to think, oh God, I'm just completely freak out. I'm sure I would initially, but yeah, you never know. You might suddenly find an inner strength and save the world.
But still a very wisely chosen answer and a great finish for a charming interview. Thank you so much for having us here.
My pleasure, thanks very much.
Keep up the great work. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers.